nothing was said in as many words, but it was amply evident that BJP in UP was a divided house. There was a strong lobby against the Chief Minister, Yogi Adityanath, and there was a lobby for him. Yogi's arrogance did not allow him to make friends, but foes. Yogi is also as ambitious as him to succeed Modi. So he is the biggest hurdle in Amit Shah's path. The posters sent from the BJP central office, the campaign committee did not have pictures, even pictures of Yogi. So they say, how can you blame him for the losses when he had no say? But the point is that as Chief Minister, you have some, fine, Modi is also responsible, but because he is sitting at the helm, nobody is going to attribute the losses to him. And obviously, these days politicians don't take the blame themselves. So it is very convenient to treat Yogi and make him a scapegoat.
Will there be a change of guard in Uttar Pradesh, India's biggest state in terms of Lok Sabha seats? That's a question buzzing in the power corridors of Lucknow. Why is that? For starters, BJP bagged only 34 seats out of 80 in the recently concluded Lok Sabha elections, down from 62 in 2019. That's a loss of almost 30 seats. So questions raised on leadership. Then some statements made by BJP leaders in the state have raised eyebrows, including that of Deputy Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh, Keshav Prasad Maurya. Maurya even made a trip to Delhi and met BJP President JP Nadda. The state BJP chief, meanwhile, Bhupendra Singh Chaudhary, met Prime Minister Narendra Modi in the national capital. The rift between Maurya and Adityanath is like an open secret now. On one hand, we have an OBC leader who many say thinks of himself as the rightful claimant to the chief minister's post, and the other, the sitting chief minister, who was once upon a time an unlikely pick for CM, now projects himself as a leader leading the state from the front. So what does the political picture in Uttar Pradesh look like? And will Yogi Adityanath be replaced as the chief minister? We spoke to Mr. Sharat Pradhan, a senior journalist who has tracked UP politics over the years extremely closely. Here's what he had to say. Do watch this insightful conversation till the end. Let's begin. Mr. Pradhan, thank you so much for taking out the time and speaking with me. It's lovely to see you. Now, before we get into the specifics of
pleasure.
Uttar Pradesh, yes, before we get to the specifics of what has been happening in Uttar Pradesh for the last few days, let's take a step back, and for our viewers, including me, who are not from Uttar Pradesh, who don't quite understand the nitty-gritties of UP politics like you do, let's start with the two main characters: Yogi Adityanath, Chief Minister since 2017, and Keshav Prasad Maurya. These two figures, for our audience, can you put in perspective who these two gentlemen are, why are they important, and why are they at the center of what has been happening in the state of Uttar Pradesh?
Very well. Broadly speaking, Yogi Adityanath, like everybody obviously knows, is the Chief Minister of UP, and he's made it up there via the route that he adopted right in the beginning when he took to politics from an institution called Gorakhnath Mutt, which is in Gorakhpur, based in Gorakhpur, and it was constituted way back by a old, very well known guru called Gorakhnath, and of course his was a different approach. His was a different idea. He had thrown this mutt open to the downtrodden caste who did not have access to traditional Hindu temples in those times. Eventually, he went to the extent of opening. Why I'm giving this as an important aspect. He opened this to every person, every community, to the extent that he even had Muslim yogis coming to the mutt and even reciting Ram bhajans there. This is a unique thing that he had created. It's another matter that Guru Gorakhnath was in the 11th century, and subsequently how it how things evolved there, that a time came when in the early 20th century, this took a shape of a hardcore, hardliner Hindu congregation. It was converted into that by some people, and who eventually, I mean, who took over. And Yogi Adityanath belongs to that lineage. His guru, Mahanta Vaidyanath, anointed him as the successor, as his successor, and thereafter, so as leader of this, he became member of parliament from Gorakhpur 5 times, largely on account of the following of the mutt. This mutt has tremendous following, not only in pockets around Gorakhpur, but also in some other states and even across the borders in neighboring Nepal. So that was his strength. And that strength he used to get the top job in UP in 2017 when BJP won with a huge majority. And at that point of there it is where comes in Keshav Prasad Maurya. Keshav Prasad Maurya was the then president of the Bharatiya Janata Party in Uttar Pradesh, and he considered himself as the most eligible and rightful leader for the top slot because he had led the party to victory. So he fell. It's another matter that the votes were always coming in the name of Modi, but he was very hopeful. But Modi had somebody else in mind, and that was Manoj Sinha, who happens to be now the Lieutenant Governor of Kashmir. But there were people in the RSS in UP who did not want to, who had personal issues with Manoj Sinha, and they put a strong foot against that, and they said that no way would they accept Manoj Sinha. So, and Yogi Adityanath, a very ambitious man, was already pushing his way to get this job. He had no administrative experience earlier. He had been MP for 5 times, but he was largely running the mutt. But finally, because they needed a compromise candidate, so he was made the chief minister. And at that point of time, Amit Shah supported him because Amit Shah and Modi, they always think alike, and they felt that the idea was to silence Yogi, who was quite who was known for his aggression and abrasiveness, and he was very vocal, and his people were busy reading. He At that point of time, he had set up his own organization through which he had made his way up. It's called the Hindu Yuva Vahini, and he was considered a very aggressive, abrasive Hindutva icon in that area, and he got the job. And these people thought that they'll probably be able to ease him out in the next 1 or 2 years. But Yogi was a different kettle of fish. He got himself well entrenched in the job, and he followed the same. I think he followed Modi script by script to create an aura around him, apart from the religious aura of that mutt that he had, to give the impression, also true, that he was providing great governance to the state. And that he could do through excessive use of publicity. You'll be surprised to know that the UP Chief Minister spends, on an average, it works out to about 3 to 4 crores a day on publicity, which is huge. And you can always twist and turn truth and half truths, lies, half truths into truths if you have the right way to publicize. You have control over the media, money is there plenty. UP has a huge budget. So it's so much easier that he followed the same track as Modi did to establish himself at the highest level. But now so it became very difficult for the party leadership to do anything against. There were occasions when all these stories came up that Yogi is on his way out because the center doesn't want him. Center never wanted him. But in 22, when Yogi succeeded in getting a huge victory in the state assembly, there was no way that they could remove him. So an opportunity was being sought, and Keshav Maurya was the man who left no stone unturned to get this chap dislodged, because he felt that he had been denied the position that he deserved to get on merit. Again, no comments on whether that was his rightful claim or not. But yes, Keshav Maurya was, and he thought that because he's an OBC person, it will be easier for him. But there was no way that Yogi could be dislodged. But over the years, Yogi's brand suffered. He was particularly in this Lok Sabha election of 2024. Yogi thought that he was doing a great job by using the bulldozer, his bulldozer policy, running the bulldozer over right, left, right, and center over anyone. Of course, it's another matter that most of the victims happen to be Muslims. So his Hindutva, aggressive Hindutva policy grew further. And his claim that he had transformed UP's law and order, which was UP's bane, was also based on half truths. Because the National Crime Records Bureau said something else, and the UP Crime Records said something else. The National Crime Records Bureau found UP as the worst on many counts, particularly in crime against women, rapes. UP was way ahead of other places. There was a point in 2021, there was a rape every 8 hours in UP. The latest figures have not come. But Yogi managed to get this brand of a great law and order man, and who also at the same time, again, he followed Modi to try and create a UP brand. He said, Gujarat model, I'll create a UP model. And he held a whole lot of these series of investment marts, which also some of them concluded in groundbreaking ceremonies. How much of the money that was spent on these rituals didn't actually evoke that kind of response that was displayed on the board? The reality is that very few really came up. But again, I tell you, nothing succeeds like success. And Yogi continued to build himself on those lines. But when this debacle came for the BJP, when it came down to its lowest ebb in Uttar Pradesh in many years, they rolled down from 62 seats in 2019 Lok Sabha seats to 33 seats, which was a huge hit. And Prime Minister Narendra Modi, who was contesting from Varanasi, from where he won with a huge margin in the first two elections in 2014 and 19, in 24, his margin dropped down to 1.5 lakhs, which was really, really pitiable. No prime minister other than Chandrasekhar has won with such a low margin in the history of the country. And he thought that
effectively, Mr. Pradhan, you're saying, was on one hand we have Mr. Yogi Adityanath, who was not quite the first pick, but he ends up becoming the chief minister, follows the footsteps of Mr. Modi, presents himself as this bulldozer Baba, as we hear it, bulldozer Baba as someone who has maintained the law and order, like you said, who claims to have maintained the law and order. On the other hand, you have
put up a facade. It was easy for him to put up a facade because indiscriminate use of bulldozers, but again, largely against Muslims. So the politics of hate grew and took him ahead.
Right.
As far as,
and on the other hand,
in 24, it didn't work. It became some kind of an overdose, and I think that is why it proved to be counterproductive.
Precisely. And on the other hand, you have Mr. Maurya, who, as an OBC face, ambitious man, who thinks he deserves to be the chief minister. Mr. Pradhan, once we have set that context, now with that out of the way, let's come to the recent happenings. On 14th of July, the BJP has a meeting in Uttar Pradesh. You have Mr. Yogi Adityanath himself, who's present. Mr. Nadda is present there as well. Mr. Yogi Adityanath says that overconfidence has hurt the BJP's expectations. For our audience, we'll play that quote on your screen. This is what he said. Under Prime Minister Narendra Modi's leadership, we maintained constant pressure on the opposition and achieved desired success in Uttar Pradesh, be it 2014 and 19 Lok Sabha polls or 2017 and 2022 Vidhan Sabha. The BJP managed to secure a similar percentage of votes in 2024 as in previous elections. However, the shifting of votes and overconfidence hurt our expectations. As a result, the opposition, which was decimated in previous elections, is able to do chest thumping today. This is what Yogi Adityanath said in that meeting. Then, when it was Mr. Maurya's turn in the same meeting, he said that the organization is always bigger than the government. Then, this was 14th of July. On the 16th of July, Mr. Maurya goes to Delhi. He meets BJP President JP Nadda, and there were no comments made as to what exactly transpired in the meeting. Then on the 17th, Mr. Bhupendra Singh Chaudhary, who is the state president of the Bharatiya Janata Party, he is in Delhi. He meets Mr. Modi. And some reports suggest that he offered his resignation following, like Mr. Pradhan mentioned, the disastrous performance of the Bharatiya Janata Party in the state of Uttar Pradesh. That happened. And then, Mr. Pradhan, the latest is Yogi Adityanath held a meeting a couple of days ago. This is Wednesday, if I'm not mistaken, amid signs of discontent. And the Indian Express headline says, amid talk of UP BJP rift, Yogi Adityanath takes charge of assembly bypoll preparation, which effectively means 10 seats in UP Assembly will have poll again because of various reasons. There will be 10 seats, and Yogi Adityanath has taken stock of the situation. Mr. Pradhan, the question is, amidst all this meeting, closed door meeting, no comments to the media, organization is bigger than the government. What is the signaling? What is really up as far as the power corridors of Lucknow is concerned?
Well, this meeting in Lucknow made it pretty evident that though nothing was said in as many words, but it was amply evident that BJP in UP was a divided house. There was a strong lobby against the Chief Minister, Yogi Adityanath, and there was a lobby for him, which was much, it wasn't certainly not as strong as the anti-Yogi lobby. Because one thing, Yogi's arrogance did not allow him to make friends, but foes. He made more foes than so, as it is said. And on the other hand, Keshav Maurya, who could not win his own seat in the assembly elections, though he attributes that to people who are against him. Obviously, he's hinting at who everybody knows, and he blames them for making such they're making the situation such that went against him. He says that he would have won the election, but it was people sabotaged his election. That apart. Now the thing is, because Keshav Maurya has been demanding this, and he's been able to mobilize a lot of OBC MLAs with him. He has, above all, he has the support and patronage of Amit Shah, which is where his strength comes from. So, and Amit Shah, as we all know, is perceived as somebody who does not, who for whom Yogi is an eyesore, simply for one reason, because Yogi is also as ambitious as him to succeed Modi. So he is the biggest hurdle in Amit Shah's path to succeed Modi. Though I personally feel that as long as Modi is around, I don't think anybody should even dream of getting that slot or to consider himself successor. But that's how politics is, and because of his proximity to Modi, he is obviously the choice number one. If Modi were to actually anoint somebody as a successor, which I really doubt. So so now a common enemy, he becomes the common enemy. Amit Shah, when he endorsed Yogi in 2017, he never thought that Yogi would get so deeply entrenched and would even become a contender to the throne that he is gunning for, he's looking for up to. So, so now the war actually, it is between the Modi Shah duo and Yogi. That is the reality. And Keshav Maurya is one of the tools. And because of his ambition to get that slot for which he's been desperate for the past 7 years, and this is the right moment, he thinks, because probably his camp feels that if Yogi is not shunted out today, then it will be very difficult. But 2027 is the next state assembly election. And at that point of time, it may be very difficult to remove him because the way he has built himself as a Hindutva icon, I wouldn't say Hindu icon, Hindutva icon, and his brazen Hindutva, it may prove to be counterproductive for the BJP to remove him anywhere close to the election. Right now, elections are almost 3 years apart. So, and public memory is very short. So they all feel that this is the time, and they have reason for that. What Amit Shah has been citing behind the, not on record, but off the record, is that the responsibility for the debacle that BJP faced in the 2024 Lok Sabha election is attributable entirely to Yogi. This is what they say. On the other hand, the Yogi supporters claim that because Yogi did not have any say in the elections, either in the selection of candidates nor in the campaign. He may have gone campaigning all over the country, but the election was fought in the name of Narendra Modi. The posters sent from the BJP central office, the campaign committee did not have pictures, even pictures of Yogi. So they say, how can you blame him for the losses when he had no say? But the point is that as chief minister, you have some fine. Yogi Modi is also responsible, but because he is sitting at the helm, nobody is going to attribute the losses to him. And obviously, no, these days politicians don't take the blame themselves. So it is very convenient to to treat Yogi and make him a scapegoat, because ultimately somebody has to take the responsibility. So what has probably happened now is, from what is the grapevine, is they put it on hold, his removal on hold, until the state assembly by-polls. 10 seats are going to poll, as you already pointed out. And depending on the outcome of this by-election, the decision on Yogi could be taken. And but let me tell you, the of the 10 assembly seats which are going to the by-poll, 5 are already with the Samajwadi Party in the past election. And it may be very difficult to wean away any of those seats. And considering the BJP on the downhill that it has been going, one sees very little reason for them to be making any improvement in their tally. They had only 3 out of the 5 remaining seats. So, and to be taking a decision on the chief minister on the basis of these 10 assembly seats is a bit very unusual for any political situation. A party which is already in power with 273 seats, NDA included, in a house of 403, 10 seats should not make any difference. But yes, here, because the question is Yogi or no Yogi. So that is a big question. And the story that is doing rounds is that he would be offered a place in the central cabinet. And though some people believe that Yogi may not accept that, I personally feel that Yogi will have to have no choice but to follow what the central leadership says. And that, now that it is very evident that they are in no mood to have him continue on the stay, so decision should be coming. If this is how this, and from what the Maurya camp has been talking about, and the way the build up, the whole build up makes it pretty evident that all is certainly not well with the BJP. It is a divided house, and very soon there will be some drastic steps, which I mean, only it's a matter of time.
Mr. Pradhan, 2 quick questions before we end this interview. First, like you said, if grapevine is to be believed, a call on Mr. Yogi Adityanath's continuance as chief minister could be taken after the assembly by-poll. Help me understand this. Where is brand Yogi in Uttar Pradesh right now? What is the stage? Because the popularity with which Mr. Adityanath has grown, if you look at the BJP chief ministers across the country, one name that immediately props up is that of Mr. Yogi Adityanath, because he comes from the biggest state in terms of Lok Sabha seats as well. So that's why politically it's crucial. But since 2017, from this unlikely pick to this bulldozer Baba law and order control, in fact, as a chief minister who is reportedly, who likes to run the state through bureaucrats. And that is said to be one of the reasons that some BJP legislators do not like this method of Mr. Yogi Adityanath. Is it safe to say then that with whatever has been happening, Mr. Yogi Adityanath is losing support, at least that of the BJP MLAs that are there? 273 is what you mentioned. So do you see that brand Yogi is on the decline, Mr. Pradhan?
Well, it's quite visible. It has been visible. But those people who are his blind followers, mind you, I tell you, because of the mutt, he has a following of really blind supporters. Like Modi Bhakts, you have Yogi Bhakts also. But those are not BJP MLAs. The BJP MLAs, as I said earlier, Yogi has cultivated no friends he has bred more enemies within the party for various reasons, but partly because of his arrogance, partly because of his inaccessibility. So no matter how popular he might be with the people, there is a one big factor that has given him this popularity level beyond other chief ministers, BJP chief ministers, is his saffron robes also. Mind you, we in this country, and it is a lot, and all the aggressive Hindutva that he's followed, brazen Hindutva that he's followed, the politics of hatred works works in this country, unfortunately, with a lot of people who are completely embroiled in the politics of Hindutva, and they think that it is not less of it is not Hindu religion, it is anti-Muslim approach, which is what they seem to thrive on, and which is not only harmful for the state, it's harmful for the country, harmful for society, but that is not their concern. For their concern seems to be more about personal gains, personal aggrandizement, politics to remain in power. So, which is what Mr. Yogi has been following, and that is his only strength. So, how it plays out, but let me tell you, he may be very popular, but once the call is taken by the people sitting in Delhi, I think neither Modi nor those people will have any uh, way that they will be able to protest against it and cause any kind of harm to the party for that matter. Though it is
Then the
widely believed that it will not be easy for Yogi to dislodge.
Then, Mr. Pradhan, the $1,000,000 question: as someone who has seen so many chief ministers in Uttar Pradesh over the years, do you think the time for Mr. Yogi Adityanath is up, either now, after the bypoll? Do you think the time is up, and will that move, if they decide to replace him, would that move backfire?
I don't think it can backfire. As I said, just recalling Mr. I have written a book on Yogi Adityanath, published by Penguin, and I mentioned this in that book that though the only quality Yogi has at that had that at that point of time, that his integrity, financial integrity, but even that has come under question. And the other thing is, but at the same time, to what is widely perceived about him is that he may not take it lying down. But let me tell you, let me draw your attention to the fact that when in Mulayam Singh was the chief minister, he and the Yogi was involved in a shootout, and there was a case of attempt to murder against him. And Mulayam Singh ordered his arrest. He was put behind bars. And after that, when he came out on bail and they went to the parliament, he cried, he howled, he tears rolling down his eyes when he said before the speaker that how he was harassed and humiliated and put behind bars. I have not come across any political leader of any party who would do that in public, to who would express his you know his targeting by another government in this manner. Nobody would like to cry in front of public. A political leaders are used to getting arrested and all that, but they never show in public. They never show their weakness. They would never like to do that. So that reflects the timidity of the man. So I don't think he has the gumption to defy Modi, or he will be able to build that conviction and courage of conviction to fight Amit Shah in that manner, knowing that Amit Shah and Modi are one. So he'll have to accept whatever call is taken on.
Right. Interesting days ahead, Mr. Sharat Pradhan. Thank you so much for taking out the time and speaking with me. It was lovely having this conversation. I think going forward, there was never a dull day in Uttar Pradesh politics, and by the looks of it, we still have a lot more political moves playing out, and we'll hopefully have you again to discuss and help us understand the same. Thank you so much for joining us. To our viewers, thank you so much for tuning into our channel and watching this conversation. Thank you so much.
minute with our cutting-edge news app. Instantly access the latest shorts in just 1 minute and breaking news in just 50 words. Download now for a smarter, faster news experience.